we will talk about the different types of construction processes for the different types of construction and processes for a project. Okay, so what type of construction projects can we deal with? And we are talking about general types, okay, which are more common or which are already in use and so on and so forth, but there can be some specialized projects as well. So keep this in mind. These are not the only types. These are some of the types which you may encounter or you may encounter regularly. Okay, the first one, which is very, very common. What is the most common type of construction project we have? Residential. Okay, because we all need to live somewhere, right? Okay. So the residential housing construction, the most common one, the one on which basically the entire industry is depending. 90-95% of the industry is depending upon these type of projects for their survival. Okay. So these projects can also be of multiple types. Okay. So we can have single family homes, which we call as villas, right? Okay. Then we have multi-family dwellings, which are slightly bigger than villas but small scale. Okay, so you have like 2-3 floors and so on. Okay, we have these types as well. Then you have high-rise buildings. Okay, ones which you find in SEEF and where else, Defair and so on, right? So they can be they can be of different types, but they are usually simpler. That's why more people are involved in that. Okay, they are usually simpler. So they can be built on spec basis. Okay, so like typical. They can be built on typical basis. Okay, so villa is 90% like this. Okay, whatever changes you are making is only like 10-15%. Okay, your own house or the villa or whatever or the building, the usual things are the same. Okay, there must be if it is multi-story, there must be a stairs. If it is too many stories, there should be an elevator there and so on. Okay, the bedroom should be at least this much, and the kitchen should be here and so on. Okay, so most of the residential projects are typical. Okay, what they are calling as on spec. And something is typical, that means you can assume a lot of things about it. You can so making assumptions for these projects is slightly easier. Okay, because you know the typical aspects of this project. Okay, usually the design is carried out by architects and engineers. Okay, and in most of the cases, architect can do a lot, even in terms of the structural design. Okay, so you will see many projects in which the engineers are just involved for the sake of approval and so on. Okay, because if you have an experienced architect, okay, so he can take care of both things. I have seen the people who are experienced in construction only, they don't know anything about design. They are not even engineers. Okay, but they have lots of construction experience. So when they see, okay, I need a 2-story villa of this much size, okay, and the rooms will be that much big, they can give you a very precise idea about the structural design as well. Okay, so like I said, they are slightly simpler. The construction is executed by the builders, which are hired by the client, and these builders can hire subcontractors as well. Okay, so they are the contractor and they are the subcontractor. What's the difference between them? Contractor and subcontractor?
Well, the contractor is the main contractor, and then the subcontractor works on specialized things.
Yes. Under who?
Under the main contractor.
Under the main contractor. Okay, so the contractor is usually in direct coordination with the client. He or she is directly hired by the client, and then you have the subcontractors, which are hired by the contractor. Okay, they can still be in touch with the client because of the type of work they are doing. Okay, but they are on need basis, so they are not hired for the entire project. and they can be for structural work, mechanical, electrical, and other specialization works. Okay, yeah. So if your project is very small, like a single family housing, I keep on giving the example of the villa. So in that case, the builder, like I mentioned, people who have enough experience of construction will not find any problem in providing you designs for these small housing units. So they can take care of the entire project itself, okay, from the design and everything. Clear? Then we have the other one, the next type is institutional and commercial construction. Okay, so they are also dealing with a big part of the construction work. Okay, especially the, okay, if you look at the examples which are given, so hospitals for example, okay, and we have medical clinics or hospitals, then we have stadiums, okay, warehouses, multi-story buildings for offices and malls, okay, and hotels. So these are all under this type. Okay, so we have lots of them, right? We have lots of them, and we want more of them, right? We want the whole variant to become a mall, which keeps on giving offers every year throughout the year. Okay, so for that we need special engineers and architects. It's not a cup of tea for everybody. Okay, which reminds me, I need a cup of tea, but not this one. So we need specialty architects and engineers who can take care of these projects. Because first of all, okay, why specialty? What is special about them? A person who is doing the villa, a person who is doing like a 2-3 story house or a multi-story building, residential building, right? Could be multi-story. So a person who is doing that, why can't he do this? Why they are different?
The facilities. For more, for example, we need entries and exams.
And for houses we don't need them, right?
But it's simple. It's more
It's
simple
simple?
than this one.
How?
You need many of them for malls or somewhere.
Many of them. Okay. Okay.
Somewhere that we have large mass of people would use it.
Okay. The amount of people who will enter and exit at the same time is more. Okay. So what other facilities? She's right. We need some specific facilities in this case, and it is related to a large number of people being in there. Okay. In residential units, the number of people entering and in the building and leaving at one time is very low as compared to these projects. So what other facilities you need to incorporate there, which you will not have? Yes. Parking facilities. Okay, and with the parking you need what? Parking from where? People will come from where? From the roads, right? You need the proper connection as well. You need to make sure that your parking is not disturbing the traffic. So now you see there are extra approvals here. Okay, and a very few housing projects need an entire study, traffic study, environmental study, but many of these projects they need it. Okay, otherwise the project will not be approved. Okay, so obviously people who will do this will be specialty engineers. Okay, safety is a big aspect here. Okay, so we need more exits and entries which can work in emergencies as well. Okay, you need assembly points, you need fire exits. Okay, not the same as a residential building or residential house or something. Okay, so there are many considerations for these buildings which require some special skills, some specialization in the engineers and architects. Okay, and obviously because the project is large, okay, in many cases, so the contractor must also have the ability to take on these projects. Okay, if you are hiring a small contractor who is doing villas and 2-3 story construction, he may not be able to handle this. He may not have the resources. Okay, they may still like to take it, but they cannot handle it. obviously. Okay, and then we talked about the special considerations which you need. You need a full parking area, you need some road work may be done as well. Okay, the HVAC systems, the AC and heating and ventilation systems, they are not of the same size as a residential building. Okay, so you need the contractor which can handle these things. Okay, then we have specialized industrial construction, basically industrial construction. Okay, which is purely industry. Okay, everything fine? Enjoying yourself. Okay. So industrial construction, specialized industrial construction means the same thing. Obviously, there are large scale projects. Okay, you cannot have like industry of 1 room and 2 rooms, right? We can have. Come to Pakistan, I will show you. So they have high technical complexity in them. Okay, for example, there are some examples given on industrial projects. For, let's say refineries, oil refineries, steel mills, chemical processing units, pharmaceutical units, battery plants, anything which is manufacturing. Okay, computer chip manufacturing, wind, solar power facilities, and what any type of power plants. Any big industry example you can give me for Bahrain? Alba, right? Anything else? Babco, yes. So Babco is mentioned somewhere, right? It's mentioned somewhere, right?
That's what you.
Not mentioned.
What is it?
Babco does what? Huh?
Refiners.
Huh?
Refiners.
But you guys don't know, right? You're just guessing.
Refiners.
Huh? You know it or you are guessing?
No.
You know, very good. They will hire you, inshallah. Okay. Yeah, but the aluminum industry is not mentioned here. Rest Alba does, by the way. Again. So any type of, so in these cases there are chemical processes which are happening. Okay, and they are happening at a large scale. Okay, so you need big equipments, very heavy machinery, which will be installed and it will be working continuously, right, for many hours. Okay, so these processes involve a lot of heat exchange, cooling and heating. Okay, a large material quantities are being transported. Okay, and they are done on continuous basis. Okay, it's not like it will happen one time and then you will stop and clean everything and you make sure everything is cooled down and then you do the next one again. Okay, these are continuous batches. So in order to make sure this process runs smoothly, okay, you have to design the facility in such a way. Got it? Okay. So what is? Yeah. So very large investments are involved here. Okay, it's a very capital intensive construction. Okay, none of these things is cheap except the engineering. Okay, and then you obviously you need a large amount of time and planning as well to make it happen. Okay, so in these cases, no small scale contractors are involved. No small scale companies are involved. All of them are large companies. Okay, and some of them are big companies which are working in many different countries. Okay, international firms are involved here. Okay, so they have high complexity and risk as well. Okay, because imagine we have heard about some of the incidents which have happened recently. Right? In last couple of years, there was one which happened where Alba or Babco? Somebody, Babco, right? Somebody died as well. Yes. So, so now you can imagine the risk, and if this thing doesn't get under control very quickly, or even if this happens, it can go out of control very quickly. Okay, because if you are not talking about a small gas cylinder. Okay, we are talking about a huge tank. Okay, so you can, it's like 1,000 times more risk. Okay, if you compare the risk to a house, it is 1,000 times more. Okay, so the risks involved are very high and the financial risks are very high. Okay, imagine we gave the example of Alba and Babco. Okay, so there are hundreds of people working at one time. Okay, so if that industry is closed for even a couple of days because of anything, you can imagine how much of productivity and economy is lost. Okay, so there are huge costs here. Okay, and they are that's why they are called as mega projects, and they can go in billions of dollars. Okay, then we have the infrastructure and heavy construction. Okay, give me an example of infrastructure.
Flyover.
Sorry,
Flyover.
flyover is infrastructure. Yes. What else? Highways. Yes. What else? Bridge. Everybody is on the roads, right? Yes. Drainage system. Yes. What else? Not coming out of the road, right? Flyover, underpass, roads. What else? Huh? Very good. Still on the roads. I should be happy, yes. My field is transportation. I should be happy, right? So why I'm teaching this? I should start teaching is road construction. Huh? We'll be fine with that.
Also the water pipes.
Water pipes, drainage, right? Water pipes, water supply pipes, yes. Okay, sorry,
What is that from the mountains?
what from mountains?
Building.
Buildings
Yes, from mountains.
from mountains. Anyways,
Drainage system.
drainage system, you said. Okay. Yes, we have water supply system, water treatment system, drainage system, electrical pipelines, oil pipelines, okay, power plants, okay, these are all part of infrastructure projects, okay. So now we have bus systems as well, metro system for example. We have sewage system, which is slightly different from drainage. Drainage is pure water, sewage is, then you have waste with it and so on. Then we have waste management system, okay, waste disposal and recycling, and so all of them are part of infrastructure, okay. So most of these projects are, who is the client?
The government.
The government, we, right? Huh? Public, okay. So they are publicly owned and they are financed by their own mechanisms, okay. So the government gets the finances from people, right? Okay, from taxes and so on, right? Or sometimes they have their own investment mechanism like bonds and so on. Doesn't happen often here, but in some countries they do this, okay. They have a new project, they float the bonds, they sell it, okay, and they get the money and so on. Okay, so in this, because the project involved is very large, it happens over a very large area, okay. So there are a lot of mechanization involved here, a lot of equipments are involved here, okay. So it's no longer a small scale project in any way. The other projects, they are most of the times for a specific land area, this much, this area, okay. But these projects can go to a very large area. There's one happening, I believe it is like 30-40 kilometers. They are laying out the utility lines, okay. From they are doing in near Al Anwar, but it has started from very far, maybe SAR or something, but still going on. So it's like more than 30-40 kilometers of utility lines, okay. So you can imagine now, okay, the amount of area you are covering. So if you try to do it through traditional manual techniques, it will take a lot of time, okay. They often use heavy equipments here for construction, okay, and yeah, so less labor intensive. So obviously the people who are involved in these projects are not the same as who are involved in the building projects, so they are very different, okay. They are specialized people who can deal with it, okay. Highway engineers, bridge engineers, okay. So even all the transportation engineers are not bridge engineers, okay. And all the people who are involved in industrial construction cannot take, or all the people who are involved in people who are related to water resources, they are not, all of them are not specialized for water pipelines, okay, or oil pipelines and so on and so forth. There are people, different people who are there. Okay, and for a project, these are the, we already talked about them, 5 steps. Okay, so the first step is initiation, where you define the objective. Okay, and this is called what we call as the life cycle of the project. These 5 stages make up the life cycle of the project. But just a small clarification here, I already gave you. We are talking about construction projects. Okay, so our life cycle is only related to construction of the project. The actual term life cycle is very, very long. Okay, it's very, very long. Okay, so it can, for example, life cycle of a highway project, the actual life cycle, okay, will involve all of these, then maybe 40-50 years more. Okay, after this 40-50 years more. What is happening in those 40-50 years? The highway is operating, and you rehabilitate it, you maintain it, and so on, until you totally scrap the highway. Now I have to build it from the scratch again. This, whatever part I have right now, can only go to scraps. I cannot do anything with it. There is no maintenance potential here. Okay, so this is what we call as the real life cycle. Okay, but as far as the construction management is concerned, these are the 5 stages. Okay, so initiation, you define and authorize the project or its phases. Okay, so what will be my project? What are the main phases? Okay, you start with the planning. Okay, you define the objective, and how will you get to your objective? You define your path. Okay, then we have the execution stage, where you hire people to do the work and hire resources and arrange budget and so on and so forth. Okay, and you try to make sure that it goes according to plan. And then you have the monitoring and controlling, which happens with it. I told you, this is like an overlap. You do not wait till the end of the project to monitor it. You have to monitor the whole process. Okay, so you regularly measure and monitor any variations from your plan in terms of budget, in terms of time, in terms of quality, in terms of specifications, and so on and so forth. Okay, and any corrective actions which are to be taken, you will do it as soon as possible. Okay, and then we have the closure, which is the acceptance of the final product. Okay, and you bring the project to an end. Which of these was the longest one? We talked about the time each of these stages take. So which of them was the longest one? Execution, right? Should be. Right? No? Why not? Monitoring is larger?
The longest is the execution, but the most important is planning.
The most important one is planning? Yeah. But what he is saying is also, yeah, in some aspect correct. So this will not come next. Because I said there is an overlap, right? So I said there is an overlap between these two. So monitoring can continue after it. But when you say amount of time, we are basically talking about how much time you are actually consuming on it. So it will start once you clear the site and you do the first excavation, it will start. Okay, but you are not consuming, for example, excavation you consume 2 days. To check the excavation, you will not spend 2 days on it. Okay, so in this aspect, this is lower. Okay, which one was the shortest one? Which stage was the shortest one? Closing? Huh? Planning process was short. No, planning was not the shortest one. Closing? Was closing?
Either closing or initiation.
Either closing or initiation.
Closing.
Closing? Sure? How much was it?
5%.
5%? Okay, good. I believe you because I don't remember myself. Okay. So, how the initiation is defined in PMBOK. PMBOK is a book. Okay, it's considered as a textbook for project managers, and it is the full form of Project Management Book of Knowledge. Okay, so a very famous book. A lot of people who become project managers or who do certifications, they go through this book. So they define the initiation as the process of formally recognizing that a new project exists, or then an existing project should be taken to the next stage. Okay, so recognizing the need for doing any execution. Okay, recognizing the need for doing any execution. That is the definition of initiation according to the project management textbook. Okay, so in some cases, the new construction can be an entire new project, and in some cases, the new construction can be just an extension of the old project, or just a, what they call as upgrade of the old project. Okay, for example, they have recently finished a highway where? Where? Anywhere. Yes, in Bahrain. They have recently finished a highway, maybe last year or something. Last year, yes, last year.
I just applied over, it was opened, and
Yes.
there was a widening, and one of, I think in East Town, East, Sheikh Isa Highway, there was a widening.
The widening, no, the
Widening.
Jisra I know.
Mhm.
Okay, the flyover, I know. There was a widening as well.
Yeah, I think I was there in my training.
Ah, okay. So the flyover is something which is new, right? Okay, and the widening is taking it to the next stage. Okay, but I was talking about the Busaitin project. Okay, now what has they done last year is the new project, right? Is the new project. Okay, but we did the site visit there. I believe we went there twice. So they were showing the future plan of upgrading. Okay, so now the project may have intersections, but in future it will be upgraded to some bridges or something. So that will be the next stage, taking the project to the next stage. Okay, so initiation involves developing a project charter, which is basically a business plan of the project, what you will get out of this project, a document. Okay, and developing initial project scope statement, what is involved in the project, what is not involved in the project. Okay, so the Busaitin highway project, for example, okay, the new project, the scope for now was that we will have like 2 intersections. Okay, what is not involved are the bridges. Okay, and so on and so forth. So it is all documented then. Initiation means you document these things. You make it into a document so everybody can see what we are planning for. Okay, so it's not about it's in my head. Okay, it doesn't work like this. In the engineering field, you have to make sure that you have on paper or on the laptop, whatever you do. Okay, then the planning process, the next stage involves many steps. Okay, you have to develop the project management plan. Okay, who are the parties involved in the management, who will be the client, who will be the project manager, from how will I hire the contractor, the consultant, and so on and so forth. Scope planning means, so we already developed the scope, right? Okay, scope planning means now how will I implement it? How will I achieve what I planned for? Okay, scope definition, creating WBS. WBS is work breakdown structure. WBS stands for work breakdown structures. You have the whole project, your scope, the whole scope. Scope is usually 2-3 statements, 1 paragraph. Then you break this paragraph into more activities. So your scope can be divided into 100 activities. Okay, so collection of these activities and their connection is known as WBS, work breakdown structure. Okay, so in WBS, you will have different activities. You have their sequencing, which will happen after what? We will discuss this when we are dealing with time management. Okay, what resources we need for each activity. Okay, how much duration each activity needs. If I add the duration of all the activities, then it will give me the total schedule of the project. If I add all the costs and resources, this will give me the total cost of the project. Okay, cost budgeting. How are they different? budgeting, estimation. How are they different? Yes.
Well, you'll estimate the total cost and then budget for each task.
Yes. Okay. This is one part of it. Okay. What else? So cost estimation is knowing the total. Cost budgeting is allocating it. Okay. 5% here, 10% here, 1,000 here. What else? So he spoke about one part of budgeting, which is allocation, dividing into parts, and the other thing is what? Yes, anybody who has his own business.
Maybe cost estimation happened before we hire the contractor.
And budgeting happens
After
after. Why?
BOQ.
Okay, yes.
I was going to say, you make sure that it goes as planned.
Okay, very close. Okay, budgeting also involves time management of the cost. Okay, so how much you need when? Okay, so the contractor, the consultant, the client, all of them may not have the total budget ready at any time we want. Okay, so they have to do the time management with the budgeting as well. Quality planning, what quality we need, how will we maintain it? What people we need, human resources. How will we communicate with each other? Through Instagram, right? Huh? They are, I met someone, he's working in Saudi, he like put drawings of the project on Instagram. Okay, then they ask him to take it out, or you go out. I don't know what happened. Risk management, we talked about it, we'll talk about it again later on. Okay, so risk identification is part of it. Okay, so all these are part of risk management planning. Okay, what risks are involved? Which of them are qualitative? Which of them are quantitative? Which you can just say, okay, this is bad, this is good, and which of them you can exactly know the value. Okay, and if the risk happens, what will be your response? Something bad goes in the field, what will you do? Fire happens, heavy rainfall, what will you do? Okay, so plan to handle the risk, and then we have the things which you need to procure and purchase. Okay, and then we have the plan contracting, or the contracting plan. Okay, in the execution group you have these activities. Okay, so now we are executing the plan, right? So we have quality assurance, hiring project team, developing the project team, information distribution to the client, to the contractor. Okay, everybody should know what they are doing, what is their job, okay, how much cost they have, how many resources they have, and so on and so forth. Okay, requesting seller, meaning subcontractors basically. Okay, so I need material, I will hire subcontractor for material, I need form work and so on. Okay, and then requesting sellers means you will ask for their quotations. So this is quotations. Okay, and then you will select on the basis of the quotations. Okay, so this is all part of the execution stage, and then you have the monitoring, controlling, and the closing. In monitoring, like I said, this is overlapping with the execution. So you have the change control. Okay, how will you make sure that what you have said is already is happening on the field? Okay, there is no changes from the plan. So scope verification, that what they have given you as the final product is as per your objectives and scope. Schedule control, cost control. Okay, you know, controlling the time and budget of the project. Quality control, managing the project team, people who are involved in the project, managing them. Reporting to the client, to the boss on the site, to the project manager, okay, and so on and so forth. Managing the stakeholders. There could be other parties which are involved in the project, okay, which are not on site even. Okay, the consultant, for example. Okay, so managing all of them. Risk monitoring and control. You have the risk management plan, but this is where you will execute it. This is where you will handle it. So having a plan is not enough if you cannot execute the plan. Okay, and then the contract administration, you make sure all the clauses in the contract are fulfilled as you want it. Okay, And the last stage is closing the project and closing the contract. This happens when you make the final payment, and then you have a letter, I believe from the client, that I found the work according to my satisfaction. The contractors usually keep them in their records. So when they say we have done 100 projects, they can show you like 100 letters of these. Okay. Okay, the last thing is, so these things are interlinked with each other. The 5 activities are interlinked with each other. Initiation goes into planning. Okay. You plan for the execution. Okay. And the controlling process also affects the execution, right? And what are you controlling for? What we have planned. So what I'm trying to control, that the execution should be according to my plan, right? So this is where the link is, okay? And then in the end, after you have done all the controlling, everything is as per your plan or everything is as per your approval, then you go for the closure. Got it? Any questions? Clear? Okay, thank you.